When the crisis really came to a head, I started writing letters to the editor of the Financial Times, which I had never been provoked to do before, but I felt that I knew what was happening, that I had some insight into it, and that I should overcome my academic desire just to have a quiet life reading in my library, and I should try to communicate to a broader audience. And I didn't know how to do this, okay, because I had never really been on a pundit or anything like that, and I wasn't really wanting to be a pundit. So I thought I'll start where I'm comfortable, which is with the Financial Times. So I started writing letters to the editor, and I started posting on Martin Wolf's blog, The Economist Forum. And that was a new experience for me. And then as the crisis got worse and worse, I realized that there are other blogs out there, and that the blogs were they were much faster. You know, that as the different events would happen, when you send in a letter to the editor of the Financial Times, maybe it would be published 3 days later, okay? If you post on Martin Wolf's Economist Forum, it's 3 seconds later, okay? And so it was very fast-paced there for a while. And I think that's what everyone was doing. They were reading these particular blogs to try to keep up, and the newspapers were several days behind. The Financial Times was the most on top, okay? The New York Times was 2 weeks behind, okay? But it was these particular, so the new media, okay, really came into its own for me during this period. And I started to get involved with it and learn how to pay attention to it, and I've kept doing that. Every morning I begin by checking in with my favorite blogs and finding out what's happened the night before. So I think that, and it has changed. It's changed the way that I engage with the world. I used to engage with it more at a distance through the Financial Times arriving on my doorstep every morning, and I still do that. But when things are happening, there are more immediate sources of information that are even faster. The new media, the blogging world, has broken down all of the controls about who gets to talk and who gets to listen, and who gets to talk to who. So in academia, maybe you don't know this, that you write a paper, you submit it to a journal, maybe 6 months later they come back, they say we don't like this, change that, maybe it gets published 2 years later. The lags are incredible, and then it's published and nobody reads it. It's in a journal, and it's really more for archives. And you're talking to other people who subscribe to that journal, who are academics. In the blogosphere, nobody knows who you are. Okay, they don't know that you're or if they know you're a professor, they don't particularly give you respect because you're a professor. It's you get respect for whether you have something to say that makes any sense, and it's quite different, you know, when you post. And I always post under my own name, and with a reference to my web page, because I don't hide behind a persona, because I think that that's my responsibility. That I am a professor, as a matter of fact, and I should be visible as such, and stand behind what I have to say, and try to contribute to general knowledge about the events as they're happening. But I know that in the blogosphere, I'm at the same level as other people, and there are people who know more about things, about specific details than I do. And so I read them, and I learn from, particularly the finance blogs, people who know about details of trading mechanisms, how credit default swaps were particularly traded, things like that I learned from the blogosphere that are basically nowhere written down. It's the experience of people, particularly now all these unemployed finance people have time on their hands, and they're blogging, and that's extremely fascinating to hear their conversation. So this is, again, to come back, this is about participating in new conversations, and you can lurk, okay? You can hear that conversation and lurk and listen to it until you're ready to participate yourself. And it's quite an eye-opening moment.